Hello dear friends, good morning, such a beautiful, beautiful morning. And here I am in my backyard to do some reading to improve myself. And I want to let you see the beautiful scene in front of me. Look at it. The plum is getting good. A lot of plums behind me. And the scene in front of me. Look at it. Oh. This part is so beautiful. Okay. Hello dear friends, good morning. Such a beautiful, beautiful morning. And it's really beautiful. Later I will do a video. Now I will not touch the microphone and everything I have just set up. So this is a book I borrowed from the library, Pegasus, and I have checked the dictionary how to pronounce it, but I decide maybe I will just read according to the phonetic, normal phonetic way of reading it, as told by Mariana Meyer, illustrated by K.Y. Craft. This is so beautiful, Pegasus. 飞马 in Chinese is a flying horse, 飞马. There was a time long ago when a magnificent winged horse, Pegasus, soared as effortlessly over mountains and clouds as he galloped across meadows. A wild, solitary steed, Pegasus welcomed no man's company until the young hero, Bellerophon sought his help. Commanded by a jealous king, condemned by a jealous king, Bellerophon must win the trust of the elusive Pegasus or face certain death, as have so many before him on the bone-scattered cliffs where the bloodthirst Chimera makes its lair. Only the bonds of brotherhood, bravery, and horsemanship can save man and mystic horse as they battle this legendary demon beast. Mariana Meyer brings this enduring Greek tale to the picture book audience with vivid emotion and unique vision, and truly extraordinarily paintings by Kinoko Y. Craft capture each moment in both sweeping majesty and exquisite detail. Together, author and artist guide young adventurers and horse lovers to a place where imagination soars. Pegasus. There was a time long ago when the winged horse Pegasus roamed the heavenly land of Halcyon, the heavenly land of Halcyon, as well as the earth below. No ordinary horse. Okay, I put it a little bit down so you can see. Oh, this is the shape of it. You want to see it. How about I move around? No ordinary horse, Pegasus soared over mountains and galloped through clouds as effortlessly as he trotted across green meadows. Indeed, he was as free as the rushing wind that lifted his spreading wings. The ancient gods of Greece loved him, calling Pegasus the poet's winged steed, the steed of inspiration. His hoof once struck the sweet grass of Halcyon, and from that spot water flowed, bestowing the power of creativity upon all who drank its water. From that hours, the three muses, sisters of the arts, tended that sacred spring and the ancient forest surrounding it. A wild, solitary steed. Pegasus looked for no man's company until the young hero Bellerophon went in search of him. This is their story. Pegasus and the shade of it, and this is by pastel, and I think this is a pastel painting, or maybe acrylic. This is acrylic painting or oil painting. Oh, look at it. Orange tree and the flowers. These are the flowers we have. Lily nymphia, and these are the three goddesses of arts, the three muses of arts. Bellerophon. Excuse me for the background noise. I try as much as I can to avoid. Well, look at this style of painting. Once upon a time, there was a heroine youth named Bellerophon, son of the king of Corinth, who had many enviable qualities. His bravery as a warrior was hailed throughout Greece. He was fair in his dealings and was handsome as any god. He was as handsome as any god, Bellerophon. Wow. Such fame brought him enemies as well as friends. One foe plotted against the innocent youth, succeeding in turning Bellerophon's succeeding in turning Bellerophon's good friend King Proteus against him. King Proteus. Proetus. King Proetus against him, foolishly believing that the young hero had fallen in love with his wife. Proetus planned revenge. He sent the unsuspecting Bellerophon to the king of Lycia with a sealed letter. He sent the unsuspecting Bellerophon to the king of Lycia with a sealed letter. Now the king of Lycia. Now the king of Lycia. Lycia. I would like to pronounce it Lycia. Now the king of Lycia followed an ancient custom of hospitality. He never asked the reason for a guest's visit until 10 days of feasting had passed. So when Bellerophon arrived, he was welcomed by the king and his family without question. As the days went by, the youth and the king's youngest daughter, Philonoe, were never far apart. Love grew quickly, and Bellerophon was at the point of asking for the princess' hand in marriage when, on the 10th day, the king at last requested the reason the young man had come to Lycia. Only then did Bellerophon presented his host with the letter. So Bellerophon went to Lycia, meet the king of Lycia, Proetus, and he fell in love with a beautiful daughter, Philonoe. And at the 10th day, the king asked the letter, "Why you come here?" And he presented this letter. The king took the letter and promptly broke the seal. Silently he read with horror these few simple words: "Put to death the bearer of this message." Now the king had grown very fond of Bellerophon, but he could not refuse King Proteus. If he did, he risked making the powerful Proteus his own enemy. Yet he was unwilling to bring about the youth's death by his own hand. Instead, he devised a dreadful task for the unsuspecting Bellerophon, a task the king knew would send him to certain death. The young princess was shocked And Bellerophon was unsuspecting. He did not think about any of this. And the king loved him, but had to follow the order. The next day, the king summoned Bellerophon and said, I believe the god have sent you to me, for my kingdom is in need of a hero. Ask what you will, Majesty. I am at your service, replied Bellerophon. Well said, noble youth. Your valor does your credit. Your valor does you credit. Answered the king. The monster known as Chimera terrorizes the people of Lycia. Chimera. Already it has ravaged great properties, great portions of our land. The creature breathes fire from a lion's mouth and tears its victims with dragon claw. Every warrior who has gone to destroy it has perished. Will you be our champion and do battle with the monster? So every hero who has fight with the monster was devoured and destroyed by the claw of the dragon and the teeth. And the monster has destroyed the life. We should look at it very, very closely. Oh, there is some. So the scared people has to run away, and the hero fighting the mudung, and there are people scared. There are people, and this is fight, flight, and freeze. And this is flight, run away, and this is freeze, and this is fight. Our human instinct when meeting with challenges, dangers, risks. Though Bellerophon knew that he was being asked to go to his doom, he could hardly refuse the king without being considered a coward. He does not want to be a coward. But before setting out to challenge the monster, he asked the advice of a well-known soothsayer. Okay, hello dear friends, let's continue because family is doing something, so I change my seat. And the lighting might be a little bit different. I hope you can see it. I will do as much as possible to make it more viewable. and the reflection, I really cannot do anything. Anyway, you will fail like others if you meet the beast upon the ground, declared the wise man. Your only chance will be to convince the winged horse Pegasus to fly you to the Chimera's lair, and there do battle in the air. For upon the leg of this winged horse, you might use your weapon to pierce the monster's heart. The Chimera can be killed no other way. But be warned, Pegasus is wild and unlikely to follow anyone. The wise man told him, you can only use one power, that is Pegasus. You ride the horse and fight in the sky, and you use your sword to pierce through the heart of Chimera. Bellerophon journeyed to a place where the wise man had suggested he might catch a glimpse of the winged steed, but expect no help from those who live nearby. The wise man had said, the villagers guard their privacy and do not like strangers. So you may ask anyone, but nobody will help you. This reminds me of going to Turkey, Italy, and I have never been to Greece. Oh, wow, look at it. Many days and nights passed. As he wandered, Bellerophon asked time after time for news of Pegasus. But the answer was always the same, Pegasus. There is no such animal. The villagers laughed at him. Go back from where it is you've come. You will find no flying horse here. Yet Bellerophon lingered, and finally he drifted off into the forest alone. There, as perhaps the gods intended, he stumbled upon the legendary fountain of Pyrene. Pyrene, the fountain of Pyrene. So he wandered into the fountain of Pyrene. Upon a stone slab beside the fountain, Bellerophon read, "Come, weary travelers, drink and be refreshed. For once a woman, Pyrene by name, wept here for her only child, her son, who had been slain. Long did Pyrene weep until she was transformed into an endless stream of flowing water." So Pyrene, this is Pyrene. And she has wept here because her son has been killed, slain. Maybe I read like this. This way the reflection can be reduced a little bit. Pitying the poor mother, the gods have since blessed this spot and all those who drink from these crystal waters. Beneath a canopy of oak and hawthorn, animals of every kind came to drink without fear. Little wonder then that when Pegasus chose to walk upon common ground, he favored his enchanted place. As Bellerophon approached, a pheasant flew from the marble rim of the fountain into a thicket. There was the sweet call of the gold finch, and then silence. He leaned down, cupped his hand to catch the sweet water, and drank. That night, with little idea of how to catch the elusive Pegasus, he decided to sleep nearby, out among the stars, the moon, his only light. So he slept under the stars and the moon, his only light. Oh, that sound is just perfect. As he slept, he dreamed that a luminous woman appeared, holding a bridle so fine and pale that it was nearly invisible. "Noble youth, don't despair," said the woman. "Present Pegasus with this gift, and he will not fail to win his, and you will not fail to win his love. If you learn its name, it will blind you both forever." If you learn its name, he did not know the name, only a present. "Blessed goddess, I can barely see what you hold, and do not know its name," said the youth. "Its name is trust," replied the woman. "I give it to you to share with your brother, Pegasus. It will lie lightly between you, and none but the two of you will know it is there. Remember, you must be as equal. You must be as equal if you are to succeed." Now the bridle rested weightlessly in Bellerophon's hand. Then, as he gazed at it, the object melted into the air like a snowflake caught in his grasp. Looking up, Bellerophon hoped to question his benefactor further, but she too has disappeared. The youth awoke to see that it was not yet dawn. The memory of his dream lingered while the distant village slept and a fog lay on the forest. He heard a sound. Bellerophon turned. There was a horse walking. All alone, upon the fallen leaves by the fountain, like a ghost that walks in moonlight. The horse was watching him. Suddenly, he felt akin to this lone animal who waited now, motionless, for his approach. The goddess disappeared. Oh no, this is a fountain, must be. So Bellerophon here, and there came a lone animal, the horse. Bellerophon drew near until they were a foot apart. Holding his breath, he tentatively reached out a hand. The horse raised his forefoot off the ground and hurled himself upward. Suddenly, a pair of magnificent wings spread from his broad shoulders. Now the steed was in the air, rising higher and higher until he was far above the thunderstruck youth. Pegasus circled the young man. And then disappeared, obscured by a bank of clouds. But in a flash, he reappeared, landing, wings folded, hardly winged, in front of Bellerophon. Pegasus pressed his velvet nose against the youth's shoulder, pushing him towards his flank, indicating that if the youth wished, he might ride. The young man obeyed, and all at once they were climbing through the clouds, holding tight to the horse flowing mane. Bellerophon heard only the roar of the wind, and the steady pounding of his own heart. They streaked across the sky, wildly dipping and weaving. Pegasus flew over jagged cliffs and followed a river that twisted and wound along like a shimmery silver snake. The patient steed took time with the new ride, though they were both till now solitary. Pegasus master of the cloud, the other a hero of the earth. Together they learned the skill needed before challenging the Chimera, the two of them together. So Pegasus suddenly stretched out its wings. So the two learned how to fly, how to coordinate, and they are on top of the sky. This is the Silver Snake River. At last, one evening, the youth gathered up his sword, spear, and shield, and went to Pegasus, the stallion. The stallion knew at once what was expected. He pounded the earth with his whole hooves. Snorting, he arched his neck and reared, eager for the young man to climb upon his back so that they might be off. Cloaked in darkness, the two fly up into the sky in search of the deadly monster. Sword and spear and shield. The Chimera was the fiercest of beasts, with a goat's body joined to the head of a fire-breathing lion. Wow, goat's body and a fire-breathing lion. Yet the monster had the iron tough scale, tail, and claws of a dragon. Its lair was in a black cave. On the side of a sheer cliff that plunged down to the sea. Descending only when hungry, the monster devoured people and animals at random and burned the countryside with its fierce breath. It was nearly midnight when Pegasus brought the youth alongside the mouth of the cave. Oh, this is the cave, the mouth of the cave. Suspended in mid-air, at first they waited, see only the charred bones of cattle and defeated warriors scattered. About the entrance, a whisper of smoke curled upward from the opening, and a choking stench filled the air, causing Pegasus to snort. The bones, the charred bones of animals and warriors. Suddenly, they heard a roar from inside the cave. And the Chimera sprang out. Fire burst from its mouth, and smoke engulfed both horse and rider. Turning, the Chimera whipped its dragon tail at Pegasus. The winged stallion leaped nimbly to one side, allowing Bellerophon to swing his sword in a flashing arc, severing the tip of the monster's tail. The Chimera gave a blood-chilling roar. Never before had an opponent struck such a blow. Once more, flames were flung at Bellerophon and Pegasus. Raising its shield, the hero deflected the flame, and a cascade of sparks shot in all directions, singeing Pegasus' mane and silver-tipped wings. Oh. In the air, horse and rider were one motion, now swiftly rising, now swooping downwards to escape each attack, anticipating each other's every move. The youth's sword stuck out at the monster time after time, but Chimera's powerful claws were too quick, and the thick dragon scales a supreme defense against the warrior's attack. Bellerophon's arm grew numb as his heavy weapon clung and railed in combat with the monster. Not for a moment could the youth let down his guard. He had to hold his shield high and keep his sword nimble if he was to ward off the monster. And then the Chimera broke through his defense. Claws tore at the hero's arm. With lightning speed, Pegasus soared out of harm's way, saving Bellerophon from certain death. Kind of gold, lion, dragon. The battle raged on at daybreak, and at daybreak Bellerophon had not found a way to drive his sword into the monster's chest. Now he saw that he must make use of his spear if he was ever to succeed. Yet, blinded by smoke and weakened from loss of blood, he continued to need both sword and shield to fend off the flames and deadly claws of the beast. Bellerophon knew his strength was waning and time was running out for him. He must risk giving up his sword before all his power was spent, letting down his defense. But for a moment he flung his sword away and took hold of his spear. Skillfully he aimed and thrust with all his remaining might. Streaking through the air, the spear cut through smoke and fire and found its mark, piercing the monster to its very heart. The monster's horrible roaring ceased, and the flame subsided. Now there was only silence as the lifeless body of the Chimera dropped from the rocky precipice. Following thousands of feet to the raging sea below, it was swallowed by the waves and disappeared forever. The cliff fell down. Oh, the light is triumphant. Horse and rider returned to the fountain of Pyrene, and in this sacred spot, where a woman had once shed tear of loss, the hero turned to leave his beloved Pegasus. He knew he could not hold the stallion against his will, but as the earthbound Bellerophon watched Pegasus' alabaster wings catch the wind, lifting him towards the heaven, he hoped that this would not be the last he would see his friend. As the news that the Chimera had been slain, there was great rejoice. The king dared not attempt to harm the hero again, for he was now convinced that the gods favored Bellerophon. Instead, he gladly gave his consent to the marriage of his daughter and Bellerophon. The two were wed with much celebration and given a portion of the kingdom to rule together. And though Bellerophon's duty were great and his marriage a source of happiness, as the years passed, he found time enough to steal away from worldly things, to seek his friend Pegasus whenever possible. As the goddess in his dream had foretold, the two had become brothers, bonded by a trust that never could ever forget. Never could ever forget. Pegasus and Bellerophon. They stay together through trust. The end.